90% of the women are at the constabulary level.
Yes, get her married. Why can't she just choose some job from the engineering only? She's already graduated from such a good college. Women are suited for each and every field that exists for humans.
Today, we have with us Anupriya Choudary, who's cracked one of the most toughest exams of the world, that is UPSC Civil Services in the year 2022. Welcome to the Honest Up. In the first attempt that you gave, what was your mindset?
I knew that even if I do something different in each paper, then it's just a matter of those 5-6 marks in each paper.
Lakhs of students are curious to know what happens in that boardroom. Any few tips that you'd like to give young aspirants regarding how they deal with personality tests?
First of all, your confidence is something that has to be there throughout your personality test. You cannot lose your confidence based on 1 or 2 questions that you were not able to answer at that point. Even if you knew that question and it was a factual question or it was a question from your optional and you could not recall at that moment, it is perfectly fine. They've already tested your basic knowledge and they want to test your aptitude for the examination.
So what was your approach towards essay paper?
There are 3 pillars that I would just want the aspirants to focus on, and it is just those 3 pillars which will land you in a very good score. So first pillar I would say is the content. First thing that the aspirants should do when mains is round the corner is that they should have crisp notes. Second part comes is your presentation. Then comes the third pillar, that is,
Let's say you're an IPS officer. This is how you need to behave. This is how you need to dress up. So especially when it is women IPS officers, there is a level of stereotyping. So have you faced such kind of situations? Welcome to the Honest Up.
hello Shashank. Thanks for having me here and very happy to be here.
Yeah. So before we get into the UPSC journey, so I want to know about when did this idea about civil service preparation come into your mind? About your childhood per se?
So I would say that there has been many shifts in the kind of career path that I wanted to choose since the childhood. So there was this time when I would write in the scrapbooks that I wanted to be a doctor because my father is a doctor himself. And then there was this time when I started loving maths insanely, and then I wanted to be an engineer. So I went on and became an engineer. But then in my 11th and 12th standards, my father had already shifted to health administration, and because of that he had quite a lot of exposure with the administration of the Bikaner district. So because of that he would often tell me stories of the initiatives taken by the administration present therein. So that is how I got introduced to the field of administration, and that is how that inkling of the idea was already there in my mind. And in the 4th year I decided that this is what I wanted to do, and so I did not sit for the placements of my college, and I went ahead and pursued civil services prep.
So do you think seeing your father, who's supposed to be a doctor, he's into public service, right? Serving the public in more than one ways. Do you think there is some strand in that for you to choose civil service as a career option?
Definitely, because my father has been in administration for so long. So it was definitely a very tempting field to be in, because I saw him working day in and day out and being excited every single day about the work that he was doing and the kind of interactions he had with the officers. Made it all the more tempting for me to get into those fields and experience that kind of job profile.
You've done your engineering,
Yes.
right? Metallurgical engineering.
Yes.
So many students whom we come across, they choose engineering just because somebody has told them, or out of parental pressure or family pressure. Was your choice of choosing engineering your own calling, or was it forced by somebody?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting question. Thanks for that, Shashank. So, for me, engineering was a very personal calling, primarily because as I said initially, I was also inclined towards the medicine field because I had seen my father from the childhood serving as a doctor.
Family or relatives also always say like,
Yes.
"Aap bhi doctor
So
banna hai."
everybody kind of thought that since I was good in studies, I would also opt for the medicine field because it involves a a lot of studying for so many years. So, but then it was towards the 9th and 10th when I got serious about maths, and I started enjoying it so much that I had the courage to go up to my father and tell him that this is what I want to do, and I want to take mathematics in the 11th standard, and with PCM I wanted to pursue engineering. So it was like a great support from my parents, who did not think one bit that would I be able to do engineering, considering there was no engineer in our family at that time. So, but then he had immense faith in me, and my mother also asked me to go ahead with the idea. So that's how I chose engineering.
So when you propped up this idea during your engineering years, you said that you wanted to pursue this civil services option as a career option, right? What was the first reaction from your friends?
So my friends were definitely in for a surprise when I told them that I do not want to sit for placements, because I had a very decent CGPA in the college, and even apart from the core CGPA, we could also sit in for non-core options. And yes, I had a certain interest towards software field, that I would definitely want to learn something more about the software field. So they were in for a surprise, but then they also knew that I had this one desire in my head, because I talked about it like a few times. So they were kind of prepared in that sense also. But then, yes, it was kind of surprising for them to see me leave many of my passions like sports, etc., for some period of time. I would often play, but not that much during preparing for civil services. So that way they were surprised.
And I see you were also interested in badminton. You still pursue it?
Yes, certainly. I love playing badminton.
So how did the sport per se, help you in your career building?
Yeah, I personally think that when you play one sport or the other, you learn many different traits from playing that sport. For example, badminton is a sport which requires a lot of great focus, and you also have to be mentally and physically present in the sport, and you have to have that certain sort of resilience and physical strength. So I think that all of those build up to prep you up for a career activity that you're going to choose. So I think that kind of builds up your mental strength. Then you also become like more focused, because focus is very much required, especially in individual sports.
And having decided to prepare for UPSC, you must have had a discussion with your family, right? What was their initial reaction?
When I decided to sit for UPSC, their initial reaction was immense joy, because my father had worked with administration. So, although he never asked me or, like forced anything upon me, but he kind of gave me the exposure, and he had been working in that field. Because previously he was a doctor, and then he left that to be a part of the health administration. So he himself loved that field, and to see me also wanting to follow that field was all the more joyful for both of my parents.
But there must have also been some apprehension, because this is a long journey, right? And coming from a traditional district like Bikaner, so did you face any challenges per se to pursue this career option?
Very honestly, I had full support from my family, whether it's the near family or the extended family. They fully supported me, and not just support, but also they had immense faith in me. At times, they had more faith in me than myself that I would be able to do it. So that support was always there, and I would also suggest everyone to support their part of the family, whoever is pursuing it fully and throughout. So I had that support. But yes, externally some pressure would be there that get her married, or why can't she just choose some job from the engineering only, she's already graduated
Why
from
take
such a
such a
good
risk?
college.
Yeah.
So that pressure was there, but then my parents made sure that that pressure never comes to me and becomes some obstacle in my preparation.
Now, having begun the journey for civils preparation, so it was definitely a struggle, right? Initially, probably you gave about 4 attempts, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 attempts, and you've written multiple mains. So, in the first attempt that you give, if you clear prelims itself, ye hota ki mohal, like the friends and families, they feel as if you cleared the UPSC only. And you're also on cloud nine. So, that's one cherishable moment. But consequently, when reality kicks in, when we are not in the final list, year by year, so there could have been a lot of people who said, kitne baar dete? Now you can leave it now. I mean, why do you want to pursue it further? Why don't you look for alternative options? So in that state of situation and circumstances, what was your mindset? How did you tackle that situation personally as well as societally?
So I see it in two different aspects. First thing is that first you figure out whether the exam process and the exam content, is it made for you? Like whatever the mode of examination is, as in there are 7 exams that you have to clear in the mains. There are 2 exams. So first you look for your aptitude for the exam. So that was very much clear for me in the first attempt itself, that yes, this exam is made for me, because yes, I cleared prelims, and even in the mains, like I had left 2 papers, like a substantive number of marks in 2 papers I could not attempt only. So, and that even despite not attempting, I had like a score where I was just 9 marks short of the interview call. So I kind of knew in my head that if I do the hard work that is remaining for me to just complete the paper, yes, I will be there in the list. So I knew that the kind of answering that the paper demands, the kind of structure that it demands from you, and the kind of knowledge it demands from you, that I have already attained in the first attempt. So that confidence kind of built up in the first attempt, and I carried that confidence ahead for my successive attempts. Yes, there were some tweaks that I had to do in the second attempt, but even that was not enough to it was enough to get me interview call, but it was not enough to get me in the list. So I knew that some few tweaks have to be done here and there. And in mains, I would say that because mains was my main hurdle, because I was clearing prelims every year, so I knew that even if I do something different in each paper, then it's just a matter of those 5-6 marks in each paper to land me up in a good service. So that I knew inside my head. So that's how I could do it. And third attempt was definitely not my luck, because I was inflicted by COVID in a
Can you
manner that
elaborate further over it? Like, how did you deal with that circumstance?
Yeah, so I had got an interview call in the second attempt, and then then also I was not happy with my mains, so I knew that these things that I could do to land me into a good service in the third attempt. But then, as fate would have it, in the third attempt during the mains, like the mains started, and a day prior to the mains beginning, a day prior to the essay paper, I had this COVID third wave.
Okay.
COVID third wave had just struck, and
It was
I
right at the
got
moment of the
yes,
exam.
yes. In the
Okay.
mains, it was in January, I remember.
Hmm.
So COVID third wave was there, and I had such symptoms that there I could not sit in the exam hall, and I had to use the washroom multiple times, and then washroom was not there on that same floor also. So it meant that in every paper, like I would leave 7-8 questions just like that. It was just empty. So there was no way I was making my way to the interview, let alone any rank in that attempt. So it was difficult to deal with that failure, because it was not my failure per se, but it was an external event that had happened. But then again, I told myself that since I still consider myself competent to clear the exam,
Absolutely. You've written all the
I will.
papers. That itself is an achievement.
Yes.
You
So I
didn't give
will.
up on giving the exam per se.
That is why I wanted to give one more attempt, because I deserved that one more attempt, because I was like, if the failure is not my own, then I am going to give it again. So that's how I chose to give another attempt, and luckily, and some sort of luck is indeed there. Like if I was not lucky in the previous attempt, I was definitely lucky in this attempt too, because in the first attempt only I had the prerequisite knowledge, but then some luck has to be on your side for you to get your name in the list. So that's what happened in the fourth attempt.
And like in this process of several attempts, what do you think was the biggest myth that you believed in, but later realized that there was absolute nonsense?
I think the biggest myth that I could see when I saw people from diverse backgrounds clear this exam was that you have to be an IITian, you have to be from AIMS, or you have
10th
to
में
be
भी अच्छा
from
पढ़ाई करना है.
some elite Delhi
Institutions.
University institution, which is not at all true. I've seen people in even my batchmates from such humble backgrounds and such normal, as in normal in the social perception colleges, come and clear this exam and like pass with flying colors. So that is one big myth that needs to be busted.
I'm sure most of the parents should realize this, because many a times parents feel that from childhood you should have that UPSC or yeah civils bent of mind to become an IAS. Strong, academics hona chahiye. But the examination pattern itself, if you see, it's a generalistic exam, right? And coming to this aspect of personality test, you've been to the personality test twice. So, what was the differentiator from the first time that you gave the personality test or the interview and the time that you cleared the UPSC? What was your approach? Did you tweak any approach? And what was your experience per se with the board? Because lakhs of students are curious to know what happens in that boardroom with senior civil servants and academicians.
So, personality test per se was not the real challenge for me, because I can say that only based on the scores I got in the personality test. So, I had decent scores in both the personality tests. So, that was not the major challenge for me. But then, having said that, I would add that both the personality tests were very drastically different experiences for me. In the first one, they chose to focus on my DAF and on my experiences since the childhood. But in the second one, they instead chose to focus on very different things, like from like even current affairs to some random facts that they would throw at me. And it was more of a, presence of mind and a confidence testing pattern, because it also tested me in the fashion that if I did not know anything, I was not to make some wild guess and try to seek or extract some marks, but I was to keep my confidence intact and say that yes, I do not know the answer to this question, and that is about it. So that's what is being tested in the personality test. It's written in those guidelines of UPSC also.
Any few tips that you'd like to give young aspirants regarding how they deal with personality test?
Yes, certainly. I can give some tips that, first of all, uh, your confidence is something that has to be there throughout your personality test. You cannot lose your confidence based on one or two questions that you were not able to answer at that point. Even if you knew that question and it was a factual question, or it was a question from your optional, and you could not recall at that moment, it is perfectly fine. They've already tested your basic knowledge and they want to test your aptitude for the examination. So your confidence has to be intact. Then secondly, I would say that several approaches one can follow to see at the pace that they're answering at, and the content that they're adding, and the structuring of the answer that they're doing. So I think mirror approach is there. Then you can also practice structuring your answer multiple times and making it multidimensional. So I think practice is the key in the personality test. And then third is, I would say, most important, authenticity. Your authenticity should be there throughout the personality test, and if the examiners are able to see that, then I think they would believe that you're a genuine person and you're not trying to fake or make up any stuff.
Fair enough. Coming to one of the challenging aspect, that is answer writing. Most of the students say that, sir, I do not have good answer writing skills. My handwriting is not good. And I have never written good answers, nor I won any essay competitions in school. Can I still prepare for UPSC? And going by what you have discussed, mains was one of the major challenge for you as well. So how did you overcome that challenge? And could you shed some light for the aspirants on what they need to do? Because you've tried and tested several permutations and combinations through this journey. So if you could elaborate on that.
Definitely. So I would say that by the end of it, I could just figure out that yes, I was not doing my best in the mains because of certain reasons. Because I had just seen mains as a very humongous test consisting of 7 exams and 9 if you also include the
Qualifying
language
papers.
papers.
Yeah.
So for those 7 exams, I would say that there are 3 pillars that I would just want the aspirants to focus on, and it is just those 3 pillars which will land you in a very good score. So first pillar I would say is the content. So with respect to the content, first thing that the aspirants should do when mains is round the corner is that they should have crisp notes. And for those crisp notes, I would say that don't focus your entire time on making those notes, because my notes in the last attempt were in a fashion that only I could read and understand, because I had some time blockers that in that much time I have to prepare those notes, and all of my other time should be invested in adding some or the other new thing in those notes, because your notes have to be prepared in a fashion that only you want to read them. Then they should have all the flow charts, all the diagrams, everything should be there in those notes only. For example, there is a question on PDS, so I should have 2-pager notes for that, for PDS in general, so that I can answer each and every question that I see on PDS, and it should have just 1 or 2 facts, and then 1 or 2 flow charts that I think I can incorporate, and then apart from that, just the basic information like why is what all innovations are happening. So that is how notes can be prepared. And once you're done preparing those notes, and everything should be there in those notes only, like you should not be wanting to refer any second thing for those for that topic. So once you're done with content, I would say that second part comes is your presentation. For presentation, I would say that what aspirants can do is best guide for presentation is your toppers copies. So I would like look at so many toppers copies in my last attempt, because that was the most useful exercise for me. Because when toppers already have that kind of score, then that's the best metric for you to decide what you need to write and how you need to write. So their alignment of the answers, then what all they're including, how much they're writing, and what paragraph of their form for paragraphs or pointers what they're forming, and how many points you need to write, what diagrams, flowcharts, or maps you need to include. Everything can be seen from the toppers copies. So that is the second pillar, that is presentation. Then comes the third pillar, that is speed. So with respect to speed, what one can do is practice, practice, and practice. There is no other way to improve speed. And yes, one thing can happen is that okay, you have a very good way of writing, and you can like write 18 questions out of the 20 questions. But if you're writing more in one paper, one question, and then you're leaving the other, then it's not about your speed, it's about the amount of content you need to write in one question. So again, you refer to toppers copies, this is how much they are needed to write. So if it says 150 and you're writing 200 words, and then you're not completing paper, then that should not happen. So if you focus on these 3 pillars, then I think, and I've also told how to focus on these pillars. So if you just stick yourselves to these 3 pillars, then I think mains would not be a big hurdle.
Coming to note making, one of the other questions that students ask is whether we should go for digital note making or the handwritten format. What kind of note making did you prefer?
For me, handwritten is always like better than digital, because I often use digital modes just for including something that I would randomly come across while reading a book. There is some analogy that I really love, or there is something in some news article or a newspaper reading, that case study that I would love. Then that I would include, but then I would make sure that I replicate it in my handwritten notes, because when you write handwritten notes, then it is also going in your memory, because you're investing time in writing it. And like that can also happen to digital notes, but then for me personally, handwritten notes were better.
An essay paper consists of about 250 marks, right? And there is no substantial syllabus per se mentioned in the UPSC pattern. So what was your approach towards essay paper?
For essay paper, personally, I loved writing on philosophical topics, because I like.
Off late, most of the questions are also philosophy laden, right?
Yes. Also, I love, like, I am into creative writing since before UPSC also. So that's why I would use philosophical essays even if technical topics were there. So, but then that also practice, and only practice, will help you in improving essays. You can look at toppers' essays, like what all dimensions they are touching upon. Then you can have various dimensions in your head also before you go and attempt the essay paper. For example, you can choose like national, international, social and individual levels. You can choose like political, social, economics. So it all depends on you, and how will you get those various dimensions will be decided on the toppers copies that you come across. So I think that's the way to go about essay. And if you want fodder for essay, for that you can have various sources, like newspaper can be a source. Then your notes that you have prepared for GS3, GS2, you can, like, those can also come in handy for you to utilize in your essays.
Even your optional paper per se.
Yes, 100%.
And with the advent of artificial intelligence, most of the aspirants, they're saying, we can just use ChatGPT, sir. Why do we need to make notes, go through multiple sources? And people these days are saying newspaper reading has become a redundant exercise. What's your take on this?
I would religiously read newspaper then, and I do it religiously now also. So even in my starting from my first year in college, I would read newspaper regularly because it was a habit when I was back in home. So I kind of stuck to that habit, and it was so much helpful for me because when you come across one piece of news which you have not read about since the last 3-4 years, and it has been in news, then it's kind of a shocker for you to absorb all of the information like at one instance, and contrast this with you reading newspaper regularly, and then you keep getting keep updating yourself with the new piece of information that keeps coming on the context of that news article. So that is always easier and more natural, so you don't have to be shock absorbing everything just all at once. So I think newspaper reading is a good habit in general. It helps you in essay, it helps you in ethics, because in ethics there were so many case studies that I think people might not have written. I might have written because I came across one case study and I chose to write it in my notes. And if you're not reading newspapers regularly, and if the magazines that are there in the market are not including those in their content, then you won't be writing about it. So I
Absolutely.
think
And you can't develop a
newspaper.
logical coherence about the issue, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Magazines are like cut, copy, paste of information.
Yes. And it's not interesting also to read something in
True.
magazine. To
It's
read something naturally is, I think, more interesting. And
true, true. The flow of expression is also not there in the
yes,
magazines.
yes.
Yeah, coming to another aspect of an aspirant's preparation, current affairs. Should we make notes for current affairs?
I would say there are two aspects to it, rather three. First thing is making notes for prelims. So for prelims, if you are reading newspaper, then I think you only need to make notes of those specific. For example, one species has been discovered, one new species. Then you can just write it. You can have a booklet and then write it. Keep writing it down in just one sentence, that this species has been discovered and this is so and so place where it has been discovered. So that is how prelim specific notes you can keep adding, but then again, one or two sentences only, that's it. So that
As
booklet
brief
doesn't
as
become,
possible.
yes, very bulky by the end of your preparation. Then for mains, yes, for sure you can have your GS1 notebook, then GS2 notebook, and then you can keep adding some information that you keep getting. But again, very, very crisp. Like, you do not have to keep adding redundant and repetitive aspects again and again in your notes. Then for interview also, you can add your some opinion that you think aligns with your ideology, then that you can include in your notes for interview for current affairs. So that's how you can.
Fair enough. Anupriya, every time you gave the prelims examination, you have cleared it. So, what is that success formula? Prelims has become a major hurdle after the year 2021. So, what is your success formula for clearing prelims always?
Uh, it's funny, but the biggest success formula I would say is my engineering bent of mind, because then that makes sure that you're able to think that why examiner must have added this option. So once you're able to know that this option has been added for this reason, then you're able to eliminate it also. And of course, it got limited because of the new patterns that got added in the successive exams. But then again, like the way you read stuff, that was also dependent on, like, okay, this thing has been discovered, then uske aspas ki knowledge also you keep gathering. That once I read about something in the newspaper, I would also Google it sometimes. So I would also have the peripheral knowledge about that subject or that topic. So that kind of helped me in the prelims preparation. And more important than that is also the amount of practice that I would do, because I love solving prelims question papers. So I would solve around 40-50 papers every time I attempted the prelims. So that also helped. And yes, third important aspect is your previous year questions, because that kind of sets you in that UPSC examiner mode. So you clearly know that why UPSC examiner might have framed that question, why it might have given that option. So I think towards the end, when 20 or so days are left, just keep focusing on previous year questions. And one thing I would add is that do not hesitate from solving them multiple times. Like, even if you're not giving multiple attempts, I would say that yes, clear it in the first attempt, but then also solve them 2-3 times. There should be no ego or no hesitation in your way in solving the previous year questions multiple times. But then, because then you will be able to get the whys of solving the papers and forming the papers.
You could also understand the examiner, the
Yes.
expectation of the examiner in the
Yes,
rightful
yes,
manner.
yes.
And did you prepare any notes for prelims
Only
from
the
the
current
core static
affairs
subjects?
ones. That's it.
Static subjects ka?
No. I for the for modern history, polity, etc. I did not prepare notes because the books for them only are notes only. So if you start preparing notes of notes, then it's just a redundant exercise. So
Standard books or material?
standard books, I think standard books are very much sufficient for you to clear the exam.
Are NCRT still relevant?
Yes, 100%. They'll stay relevant till the time we have like updated NCRTs. Then the updated NCRTs will also be relevant.
True that. So during your preparation phase, you were also into teaching, right? So how was your experience of teaching the same aspirants who are preparing for the same examination and the same job that you're vying for?
So,
Or before that, how did this idea of teaching dawn into your mind?
So the idea struck me when I kind of got bored with preparing for this exam, because personally I'm the kind of person who would pursue many hobbies in general in life and many other interests apart from just my studies and academics. So I kind of got bored with just preparing for the exam alone. So like one thing was I was doing my masters also in public administration. Then I was like,
Your optional
okay,
was PubAd, is it?
yes,
Oh,
yes. So then I was like, yes, there is time in those exams also. So what else do I do? Then I just joined an institution, and I was like, I just want to teach, and just for the fun of it, that I want to engage myself in some activity for some part of my day, which makes me feel joyful about the rest of the day. So that's how I got myself enrolled in some institution. I was like, I'll teach basics of the subjects that I know have helped me clear the prelims and mains examination. So I was just teaching mere basics of like polity, geography, and I would enjoy doing that activity absolutely. And I still keep getting text from those students of mine that ma'am, on Teachers Day, for example, they remembered me. So it's a very good nostalgic feeling.
so like comparing your preparation that you do for yourself to prepare to clear the examination and to teach the class and the students, you need to do a set of preparation. So could you elaborate on it? How was the journey for you?
I would just sit with the subject that and the topic that I was supposed to teach that same day, and I would just see myself that how can I make it more interesting. I would just attach some analogy with it, or I would just make them read it in some diagrammatic manner or flowchart sort of manner, because that is how I personally read stuff. Because I hate like mugging up things because that's how I got into engineering also, because I just can't mug up things. So I think those sort of innovative tricks helped me to make them understand in a better manner. So I would have my crisp notes that this is what I'm going to teach and this is how I'm going to teach.
So your students are fortunate enough that way, but did you ever have this thought in mind, अरे ये लोग भी मेरा competition है ना?
Never. It never struck to me. Also, I would say that to be fair, it did not struck to me also because they were just in 11th, 12th standards. So they were students from humanities background who was just pursuing their school only. So otherwise, also I think while you're teaching, you are some different person only. If you enjoy teaching, then you're definitely so much absorbed into that exercise that such thoughts do not come into your mind at all.
And in this journey of your preparation, many of your friends, or at least in the preparation phase, some of them might have already cleared the examination. So what were your thoughts and what were your feelings in such situations? Until then, all of you are preparing together, daily, all of you meet together, eat together, and all that. And suddenly they're in a different league altogether. So how would you manage yourself, or what were your thoughts per se? Generic thoughts.
To begin with, I was not preparing with anyone who was preparing for UPSC Civil Services examination. All my friends primarily were from fields of corporate
You were
or
fortunate enough that way.
yes, my college friends, school friends, all of them were pursuing very different fields. So that way, I was very lucky because the time that I'm not studying, I like to not discuss studies.
Exactly.
So
You get a
that is
proper
how
break away from this preparation.
100%. So I would just rejuvenate myself talking to them about other stuff that they were onto, some trips that they were going to. So that way it was not a challenge. But yes, when I saw that people from my college were able to clear it, or people that I knew were from neighboring hometowns, neighboring towns, they were clearing it. So that way it was kind of I would question myself. But then at the back of my mind, like I told you, since the first attempt, like I had this feeling that if I give one proper attempt and then I'm not able to clear, then I will implement the backups that I'm already working on. So that way that confidence shattering had never happened.
If I could ask, what were the backups that you were mulling over?
So there were three backups that I was focusing on. One was pursuing my master's and then going on to do PhD and then becoming a professor. And then one backup was that I would. So some of my friends had startups, so I was also leaning towards going to the software field and then exploring that option. And the third one was that if I'm not able to do this, then I would also strive for state services. I'd already given it once and I'd cleared mains. So I had my interview pending, but the interview was supposed to
RAS.
come. Yes, RAS. I'd cleared mains. So I'd given it only once. So I had my interview in September, and in May itself, I got my results. So that way I was fortunate.
So when you made it to the final list, what were your feelings first when you saw your name in the PDF?
So it was a feeling of disbelief because I was never satisfied with my attempts. I would not even study that much. So, and even if I would not study much, despite that, I would attempt the paper and then be very dissatisfied with my performance in that attempt. I would be like, no, this should not have been the case. I should have attempted this question
That
better.
is always there, no? In
Yeah,
UPSC.
it's always there.
There is some or other gap. You always feel that we didn't give a full potential or something.
Yes. So I was very, and even in the final attempt that I cleared UPSC, I could not complete 2 of my papers. So I was not at all satisfied. I was not expecting interview call. So after I got interview call, the interview also did not go well as per my expectations. I was very confident. I was smiling throughout. But then I would just think to myself that he did not ask any questions from my detailed application form. He did not touch upon current affairs a lot. Then what am I supposed to think about this interview performance?
Whether it went in the right direction or
Yeah,
not. Whether the board was actually interested in me or it was just
because
like...
I was very bluntly honest that yes, this is something I do not know. But I was confident throughout the interview. So I think that worked in my favor. So I had no grounds to expect my name in the list. So that way it was a feeling of disbelief. But then I checked it twice. I double checked. Then I made my friends also double check. So it was a very relieving feeling after that disbelief that yes, since I've cleared, I think I can just be happy for a moment.
What was the reaction from your students?
My students, they were very, very happy, considering they were happy primarily because now they had faith in me that what I taught them might be correct.
True.
So that's why
They'd be more related than you, maybe.
Could be the case. They were very happy for sure.
Yeah. And coming back to your folk dance, you're a folk dancer, right? Could you explain about the kind of dance form that you're well versed with?
Yes. So since like the age of 4 only, I've been doing this dance form. I've learned it from my Guruji, which is Bhavai dance form. It involves you balancing 22 or 23, whatever the amount of pots on your head. Then after balancing those pots on your head, the uppermost pot is lit with fire, and even the surrounding pots are lit with fire. Then you balance yourself with those pots onto certain objects, which could be very dangerous. For example, shattered glass pieces.
Oh my God.
Then more than dance form, I would say it is a form of spirituality. So apart from glass pieces, you also balance yourself onto glass bottles, then onto like a pair of 3 swords, naked swords. Then there is also like some plates also you balance yourself onto, and then you step onto fire pieces also. So yeah.
So it surely requires a lot of balance, courage, and conviction, right?
100%.
Probably those characteristics helped you in your preparation as well.
A lot. Like, cannot stress enough. Like, there's not one aspect in my life that practice has not helped me in. because it requires balance, it requires physical and mental strength, it requires a lot of resilience, then it also requires a certain amount of grace and poise. So then a combination of all those factors lead up to what kind of an individual you are at present. So I think in the career, 100% they've helped me.
And in your National Police Academy, you see people from different cultural backgrounds. Do you think the police system as it exists today has some learning to take from the diversity of background that IPS trainees come from?
Yes, definitely. When you see people from diverse cultural backgrounds clearing and going to diverse states, then it just kind of ensures that they have that cultural appreciation in their head when they go to a very different culture from the region of origin. So that cultural appreciation is there, and then the ability to learn and the curiosity to adapt to that culture, learn about that culture, and how the very criminal background and everything is there in that region. That also curiosity is there. Then you also adapt. Your adaptability has to be really really great to be going on to a very different setup and then just making yourselves suited in that region. So I think it helps a great deal in that fashion. I think having people from diverse backgrounds is diverse backgrounds, not just cultural. I would also add that diverse backgrounds in sense that we have people from law background, we have people from medical background,
Different academic
then
backgrounds.
engineering is of course there. Then that also helps because everybody brings with them their own specialization, which adds up to their working in the field, whether it's the engineer's specialization in the ICT field, whether it's the lawyer's specialization in the new laws that have come up, whether it's the medical background personal specialization in the forensics. So everything is kind of adding up to your policing capabilities.
After getting into the civil services, have you come across any specific situations per se where people have some specific stereotyping? Let's say you're an IPS officer. This is how you need to behave. This is how you need to dress up. So have you faced such kind of situations? And sometimes, many a times, especially when it is women IPS officers, there is a level of stereotyping. Have you come across anything of such sort?
I haven't come across such a stereotype, but yeah, those stereotypes might be there. But then the fact that each year more and more women personnel are clearing this exam is the testament to this fact that times are changing, and also you need to accept the factor that leadership is not dependent on gender. Leadership is a very different trait that requires the kind of aptitude that UPSC has already tested. So rest assured that even if women are coming and doing policing in your state, then they can do very effective and very efficient policing, and they can also add many aspects of compassion and empathy to the policing aspect.
So, for the viewers, did you know that in UPSC, there are only about 19% of the IPS officers who are women? Amongst those 19%, we have Anupriya with us. So, that itself is a phenomenal achievement per se. And I'm sure you'll be a source of inspiration for many young girls per se to take up civil services and also IPS as a career option. Because many girls back out. When they talk about IPS, it requires a rigorous physical training and all that. So, they think this is not their cup of tea. But you have proved it to many girls, especially from Rajasthan. They'd be inspired by your journey. So, like when you got into the police training, Persia, what were the challenges physically and mentally that you faced?
Police training is a very rigorous training in the sense that, firstly, it is very hectic. You have to be working from like 5 in the morning till like 10 in the evening. And secondly, it is very challenging physically because there are so many activities that you're supposed to do throughout your day, whether it's horse riding or firing or yoga, uh, and other running, strength training, etc. So there are diverse activities that you need to do every day. So that way it is kind of challenging. But then I would say that because I used to love sports from like my childhood, so that way it kind of helped me. And apart from that, I think it is also a great learning experience. So there are not just it's not just challenging, it's also very enriching. That is what I would like the aspirants to know, that you would never have imagined that I would do so many activities simultaneously throughout my training, and so many new things I would be able to learn in this short span of time, as much as I learned in this training. Because you're learning musketry, you're learning horse riding, then you're learning yoga, then you're also getting exposure to the different aspects of strength training. So in that sense, it's a very enriching experience, and you'll remember it throughout your life.
What was that one moment during the training that made you feel that I belong here? Yes, I'm in the right place. What was that one moment?
I think every day there are so many things that I keep discovering about myself, that I am suited to this training. Because starting from the outdoor, like I love running, doing physical exercises. Then apart from that, I also enjoy yoga. I've been doing yoga since my childhood. So apart
Any
from that,
specific form of yoga that you practice?
no, no. Yoga for me was a part of my dancing only. So, because Bhavai and Kalbelia involve a lot of flexibility for the kind of movements that you have to do. So, that way, yoga was an integral part of my dance only. So, that's how I got introduced to yoga. So, I would enjoy that also. Apart from the outdoor, I would say indoor is also very, very relevant and more important than the outdoor. So, I happen to have many friends who are from the law background. That is how my interest also peaked in the legal subjects. So, and ICT I've already loved since like my college days only. So that way I would also enjoy the indoors. So every day you get new reasons to think that yes, you belong here.
So, Anupriya, the NCRB data says that for every hour, almost 51 FIRs are registered in police stations for crimes against women. Do you think that we have failed systemically to address law and order when it comes to women's safety issues?
I would like to disagree that we have, as a system, failed to ensure women's safety. Because women certainly are more safer than they were yesterday or day before. Uh, it is also a matter of the awareness that is, that has come on to every section of the society, including women and their families, whether when it comes to reporting of the cases. Because earlier, even the reporting of cases was not happening. So it's not like crimes against women were not happening previously, but now the fact that they're reporting is giving us the opportunity to capture those criminals who are consistently doing those crimes against women, and capture those ways of their modus operandi, and then just ensuring that then it does not happen in the future. So I think that way we are way ahead in women's safety than we ever were.
What do you think should be the approach of the legal system as well as the law enforcement system, where victims per se, they do not trust the police system or the police personnel on the ground level? How do we deal with this situation?
I would say that the trust building between the public and police can only happen when the police presence is felt more personally, in a fashion that they are not afraid of going to the police station and reporting crimes. And the police is present, like community policing, I would say that will also go a long way in ensuring that public trust is there, in the sense that they can come and freely and like report cases in a fashion that they're not afraid of the consequences. So first I would say community policing is there. Then also
Can you give some examples of community policing?
there are
Anything that
many
comes to your mind?
There are many examples. There are examples from Delhi. Then Mira Pevi is there in Northeast. So ample examples are there. Then your resident welfare associations are also there. Those are also doing the job of community policing, etc. So apart from community policing, I would also add that there is this hot stuff rule that I'd come across when it comes to effective policing. So when the punishment is swift, certain, and it is like unbiased, that also goes a long way in building trust of the public. So when the public knows that the police is not biased, and every individual's complaint would be registered regardless of the strata or the section of the society he or she comes comes from, that also goes a long way in establishing and maintaining that trust. And then swift punishments, of course, we are a long way to go in that, because there are so many systems involved. So we are doing our best in that sense also. India is towards ensuring that ICT is used in registering of cases, or in entire chain of investigation, and courts, prisons, everything, all of those are involved in ensuring that the investigations are swifter and punishments are swifter and stricter for cases where they have to be strict. So I think that will maintain and sustain your trust with the public.
How do you maintain sensitivity while maintaining investigative efficiency? See, whenever you're investigating a particular person or a particular community or a mob is involved over there, how do you maintain the balance? Now, one aspect you have to go by the law book or the rule book, and over there you should also look at the sensitivity of the target people.
I would say that there are some things that you can follow to ensure that sensitivity and effectiveness of the investigation. First is that you do not reveal any information that is, at a very initial or a very, just the investigation has just begun. So you cannot divulge information that is not yet confirmed or is very confidential. Confidential in the sense that you cannot reveal the identity of the victim. Those provisions are there in the new laws. Then secondly, you should also know that there are some people in the community itself who can be talked to and who can ensure that the sentiments of the community are not hurt while the investigation is ongoing. So I think when you talk to those individuals who have already ensured their trust from the community, I think that can also pacify them for the time that the investigation is ongoing.
Another intriguing question, like a lot of people have, is the civil servant and politician relationship is one thing. And how do we maintain the balance between people's expectation? Ultimately, the political executive is there to secure the needs of the people. And many a times, there is a clash between the civil servants and political executive. So, as part of your training or whatever you've read for UPSC, what could be the apt approach any administrator needs to adopt? And you can also give some examples per se.
For the administrator, the prime task is to implement the laws that the lawmakers have formed and the policies that they have formed. We have to primarily implement those policies on the field. So I would say that the political say in those laws and policies comes from it being elected by the people. So something that the people have chosen, something that some policies that the people have wanted the politician to implement, if those policies are to be implemented by us, then we should our best job and our best approach in that sense would be to do in a very free, fair and unbiased fashion, and ensure that the effect of those policies can be seen sooner than later. So ours would be the task to implement those policies very in a very fast pace, and then secondly ensuring that those policies have their effect on the last person standing. So our task is primarily to implement those policies very passionately. So I think that way we can also maintain the balance, and then also the division of the tasks that have been given to the administrator and the politician.
In many of your interviews, you mentioned that your priority areas would be women's education and health sector. Health sector predominantly because you come from a medical background, you know the nuances of it. So what exactly do you think is the crisis with Indian educational system and health sector? The major, precisely what do you think should be addressed? The challenges and how they have to be addressed.
I would say some of the challenges that the education system is facing is that we're not fully focused on making the education more skill based and more field based, where it could be implementable. The knowledge might not entirely be actionable, could be one challenge that we're facing, and we're already on our way in reforming those approaches, because currently we have introduced so many computer based projects and so many AI initiatives also to ensure that the knowledge is actionable at the field also, whether it's the school knowledge or the college knowledge. Then I would say that because we are such a populated country, that we have to take education to the last person standing, then that's also a challenge that we are currently working on. And in the health sector, I would say that health awareness is a major challenge that we are facing, that many people are not even aware that they have some certain disease. And even when it comes to women's hygiene, we're not aware that these are the steps we can take, and these are the public initiatives that are happening. So again, like I mentioned, administrators' job would be to spread that awareness to every single person out there, whether it's the tribal region or the remote region, that these initiatives exist for you and you can just avail them and lead a very happy, healthy, and educated life.
Another aspect of Indian police system is 90% of the women are at the constabulary level. Where you look at the higher echelons of bureaucracy or higher positions in the police, you have very less representation of women. And there are statistics which say that it might take another 24 years to realize the 33% women reserve, 33% women representation in the higher services. What is your take on this? What do you think? Are there any systemic lacunae, or is it an attitudinal problem, or is it about women or the children not taking up IPS or higher services as a career option?
I would say that yes, we need to have more women certainly in the policing field. But the lack of or the inadequacy of women personnel in the policing might have some reasons attached to it. First one that I can think of is that women or even their families might have a misperception of what policing is about. There might be a perception that policing is all about toughness and like the physical strength attached to policing, while policing is more about mental resilience and mental fitness and aptitude than about physical fitness. Because physical fitness, you will inevitably witness that there is just some basic standard that they expect from you when you enter, whether it's the constabulary level or it's the IPS level. When you enter, it's just a basic a sort of fitness that you need, and they would just make you fit throughout the entire training duration. Yes, they will like invariably ensure that you are fit physically for it. It's just the mental resilience and the mental strength that is required. So I think that misnomer needs to be cleared, so that more women who are willing to enter will be able to enter this field. And apart from that, I think we also need to think that traditional roles of women that we used to think that women are more suited for
The stereotyping,
medical field and the teaching field. So that also needs to
Be
be
done away
washed,
with.
because women are suited for each and every field that exists for humans. So that's only when you publish more examples of women doing successful policing, is when more importantly women and their families will get to know that yes, women are there at the helm of policing and they're doing it very successfully and effectively. That's so we need to publish more examples like that, and that's
Any
how.
inspirational personality that you can think of who inspired you?
For policing per se, it
Not just
was.
for policing, in general, for taking up the civil services option per se.
Yes, 100%. There was this woman officer, Aarti Dogra ma'am, in our region. She was the DM of Bikaner district when I was in my 11th and 12th standard. So her successful initiatives in so many fields are something that inspired me, because my father would come home and talk about her deliverables every day in the field, and how she was perpetually present on the field for whatever problem that struck the city of Bikaner. And that's how I got introduced, and I got motivated to pursue that field going ahead in my career.
What are the challenges that women face while getting into the civil services or police services?
The first challenge, I would say that if you think that you are not fit for this exam, or if you are not fit for some services of this exam, I think you need to just wash that off from your head instantly. Because I've seen so many of my batchmates doing excellent in the training, or there are so many seniors who are doing so well in this civil services field. So I think that mental block, if that exists, then I think that needs to be washed off to begin with. Then the second is your familial support. Then I would say that I would request all the families and whoever want their daughters or sisters to pursue this field, then I would say that just give them like unconditional support, because if they have excelled throughout their life till now, then I'm sure civil services is no big deal for them. So just give them those unconditional support and those moments of reassurance that yes, they can also do and excel in the career fields that they're wanting to choose. And yes, policing is also something that they can take the leadership in, and women will also excel in policing like others genders also.
Let's move from that serious stuff and let's get into a rapid fire round, or the quick wisdom round that we call as. So, one lesson from dance training that helps in policing.
I would say mental resilience is the biggest lesson from that I learned from my dancing. So
Can you
yes.
elaborate?
I would say that many times so many injuries have happened that I would, think that yes, this is the end of the world at that instance. But then I would also see myself getting back up like within half an hour and then resuming that activity, which would be surprising to me every time this happens. But then at the back of my mind, I know why this is happening, because then I do not think of it as the reason. The activity is not the reason, and it is only that yes, some unfortunate incident happened, and I cannot let that affect my further, activities. So I instantly go back and resume those activities when the injury has happened, and I can't do anything much about it.
One biggest myth regarding UPSC examination that needs to be cleared.
I think, like I've already mentioned, that UPSC examination is meant for some people from certain backgrounds, or certain whether it's like your parental background or your academic background or your bent of mind. It is all about how suited you are for the examination process and how suited you are for the job profile, because the examination process will be tested by them in the prelims and mains, like how suited you are for that process, and the aptitude will be tested by them in the interview. So I think that suitability has to be there for you to attempt the examination. Anything else is not to be for you to bother about.
Your personal mantra for dealing with difficult times and situations.
For me, it's just that I can try to isolate every difficulty that has happened to me in entirety. That I would not think that this has happened to me and this is meant to happen to me, and okay, because of whatever I have been doing wrong, this has been happening to me. I just isolate it. I see the reasons to that happening, and then I just continue to keep my self-esteem and confidence intact. That is how I just kind of resilience comes in and tells me that yes, you're able to bounce back, and you're able to do the activities like you used to do, and you can just learn from that activity as an isolated instance, as a one off instance. So I think you should not just link everything up unnecessarily and make your life very complicated. Things keep happening to everybody that you see around. It's just about how you want to look at that instance.
So, was there any specific incident in your life or any specific person per se based on which you adopted this approach?
Not really. It was just my failures and the reasons for those failures that I was thinking that, okay, if I have not been able to clear mains, then maybe I need to read more about my optional. And it's not just that I am not suited to writing answers, and I'm not suited to attempting 7 exams in a matter of like 5 days. So that is how I would just isolate those instances. So I think you do not have to think that, yes, I am not the right person for this job or for this exam or for this, pursuit that I want to do, for this hobby. You just need to look at what you're doing wrong, and that's about it. You do not have to link it to your entire life.
From your childhood, who had a profound impact on you and who is the constant source of motivation?
My parents, of course, because both of them, the separate roles that they've played in shaping me and in my upbringing, I think that has played a profound impact in, shaping my various aspects, whether it's the curricular or the co-curricular, and in my academic pursuits also.
Any teacher from your school or your college that you'd like to remember?
There are so many of them, and so many for so many different reasons that I cannot name one teacher from school or from some standard or one teacher from my college. So there are many teachers, and I'm very grateful and thankful to have learned under their guidance. So thanks a lot.
Your favorite pastime and hobby?
So yes, I happen to have many hobbies. So the list is very long, but to begin with, I love playing badminton. I love learning different dance forms. Then I also love traveling and doing adventure activities.
Are you a
Recently,
mountain person or a beach person when it comes to
both,
traveling?
both. I have a mad love for traveling and then doing some adventure activities while I'm traveling. For example, I recently did a surfing course. So yes.
How was the experience?
It was a great experience. The amount of scare I have in my head for water, and then the way I chose to learn surfing was like very daring of me. But then after doing that course, on the penultimate and the ultimate day, I would just be able to catch a wave and then ride onto that wave. So that was a very great learning experience for me.
Who's your favorite sports person?
So since I have followed matches of PV Sindhu so much that I have fallen into absolute love with her way of approaching badminton and approaching various matches and the defensive and offensive strategies that she's adopted in various matches. So yes, I love PV Sindhu's gameplay a lot.
Amazing. It was amazing conversing with you, Anupriya. Insights that you shared and the kind of inspiration that you can bestow upon many of the young girls and aspirants. It was quite an enriching experience. And in the end, if you'd like to give a message to the aspirants as well as youth in general, that would be of great help.
All right. So, yeah, indeed, it was great to be here and share my insights and my experiences about the civil services preparation. So, in the end, I would just add that to all the youth who are wanting to do something, whether it's pursuing a hobby or giving an exam, whatever it is, just do it very passionately. Like, immerse yourself into the process and identify your shortcomings and just work on them, and then just have that confidence and your self belief throughout the process that yes, you can do it. Because if you're on the right track and if you know where you've deviated from the track and then you have the ways to come back to the track, then I think that is all that is required. So just do whatever you're doing very passionately. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.